Far below the sunlit surface, where light begins to die and the ocean turns into a world of shadows, something small drifts through the darkness like a living blade. Its body shines like metal. Its eyes stare upward in permanent terror. And from its belly, a cold light glows just enough to make it disappear. This is the hatchetfish, one of the strangest and most unsettling creatures in the deep sea. In a realm crushed by pressure, ruled by silence, and haunted by invisible predators, this tiny fish survives with an ability that feels almost impossible. It hides by creating light. Tonight, we descend into the Twilight Zone to uncover the secrets of this ghostly predator. Its ancient origins, its bizarre biology, its haunting appearance, and the terrifying world that shaped it. Because in the deep ocean, survival does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the ones that can vanish. Before we dive deeper into the abyss, subscribe to Abyssal Chronicles and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next descent into the darkest mysteries of the ocean. Somewhere between the last blue breath of sunlight and the total black of the abyss, a blade-shaped shadow hangs in the water. It is no bigger than your hand. It does not roar. It does not charge. It does not need to. In a world where a single mistake means being swallowed whole, the hatchetfish survives by becoming almost impossible to see. Its body flashes like a falling coin. Its belly glows with cold, controlled light. Its eyes stare upward, as if permanently shocked by something terrible above. And in the silent pressure of the deep ocean, that expression makes sense, because above the hatchetfish is hunger. Below, it is hunger. Around it is darkness so vast that Earth itself begins to feel alien. Scientists place marine hatchetfish in the family Sternopticidae, a group of small deep-sea fishes found across the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, most often in the ocean's twilight zone, roughly a few hundred to about 1,000 meters down. To understand the hatchetfish, you first have to abandon the idea that the deep ocean is empty. It is not empty. It is crowded with signals, ambushes, glimmers, and traps. The Twilight Zone is a dim, haunted middle kingdom where only a trace of sunlight survives. Here, shapes are seen as silhouettes. A creature that reflects too much light dies. A creature that blocks too much light dies. A creature that rises too early dies. Every evening, this zone erupts into motion as animals leave the safety of deeper water and climb toward the surface to feed, then sink back down at dawn. Woods Hole scientists describe this as the largest migration on Earth, a daily tide of living biomass driven by light rather than gravity. Hatchetfish are among the participants in that immense commute, feeding under darkness and retreating with morning. The hatchetfish looks less like a normal fish than like an object forged for one brutal purpose. Its body is flattened from side to side, deep through the chest, and thin as a blade. In profile, it resembles the metal head of a hatchet, which is how it got its name. Most species are tiny, often only a few centimeters long, but their smallness is misleading. Every millimeter of the animal is an argument with the ocean. The silvery flanks act like mirrors, bouncing away what little light remains. Some species have transparent tail regions, so the moving part of the body does not betray them with a flash. On the underside run rows of photophores, tiny light-producing organs that can make the fish glow from below. Monterey Bay Aquarium and NOAA both emphasize this camouflage. Reflective sides, glowing bellies, and body shapes that erase the fish from view. This is what makes the hatchetfish so captivating. It is not built to dominate the deep. It is built to outwit perception itself. Imagine a soldier whose armor is a mirror, whose lantern can mimic the moon, and whose body is shaved into the thinnest possible target. That is the hatchetfish. In the ocean twilight zone, predators often look upward, searching for dark shapes against the faint glow from the surface. So the hatchetfish answers with one of nature's most elegant lies: counter-illumination. It shines just enough light from its belly to match the dim, downwelling light above, softening or erasing its silhouette. Studies of stomiiform fishes have shown that species using ventral photophores for counter-illumination also possess specialized eye-facing photophores, suggesting an exquisitely tuned system for monitoring or calibrating their own glow. HOI notes that hatchetfish can regulate the intensity of their bioluminescence, a detail that makes them seem less like simple fish and more like living stealth technology. Their eyes complete the illusion. On some hatchetfish, especially in genera like Agyropelicus, the eyes are large and aimed upward, sometimes appearing tubular, as if the fish has spent millions of years training itself to watch the ceiling of its world. Britannica notes those upward-pointing eyes, and Mbari has described the deep-sea hatchetfish as having a perpetually shocked look, perfect for spotting faint light or prey above. It is a haunting image, but also a practical one. In the Twilight Zone, the faintest contrast can mean life. The hatchetfish scans for drifting zooplankton, fish larvae, crustaceans, or the shadow of something larger that might be coming down to kill it. It lives in a universe where vision is not about beauty, it is about anticipation, and what a universe it is. At those depths, the ocean no longer feels like water in the way humans know water. It feels like pressure made liquid. Above the hatchetfish hangs hundreds of meters of sea, pressing down with the force of a collapsed building on every square inch of flesh. Sunlight arrives, weakened, filtered, stripped of warmth. Sound carries strangely. The horizon disappears. There are no landmarks, no reef walls, no forest of kelp, no comforting floor beneath much of the midwater world. A hatchetfish does not swim through scenery. It swims through volume, through emptiness, through a dim cathedral of suspended risk. Monterey Bay Aquarium describes this habitat as deep sea, while WHOI and FAO place these animals in the mesopelagic realm, generally between about 200 and 1,000 meters, where migration, feeding, and predation shape daily survival. Yet the hatchetfish is no relic barely hanging on. It is a success story written in silver and light. Members of Sternopticidae occur worldwide, and different species occupy different depth bands and behaviors. Fish-based record species such as Sternoptex diaphana from hundreds to more than 3,000 meters, usually around 500 to 800 meters, while Agyropelicus hemigymnus is often found a few hundred meters down by day and somewhat shallower at night. Some species migrate strongly, others appear to migrate less. Some feed mainly on copepods, ostracods, euphorsiids, and other small prey. These are not random wanderers. They are finely partitioned inhabitants of a layered ocean, each species threading a narrow corridor through darkness. Their movement is subtle but deadly. A hatchetfish does not need the theatrics of a viperfish or the grotesque lure of an anglerfish to be effective. It survives by timing, precision, and concealment. Under cover of darkness, it rises toward food-rich waters, entering a nighttime buffet of plankton and drifting larvae. There, its wide eyes and alert posture matter. Its mouth, though not monstrous, is ready for opportunistic feeding. Why notes that hatchetfish feed on ostracods, copepods, floating fish larvae, and crustaceans. Then comes dawn, and the ritual reverses. The fish sinks back into dimmer water, not because it prefers the deep, but because daylight makes visibility lethal. In that sense, every hatchetfish is a refugee from the sun. Scientists are fascinated by them for another reason. Creatures like hatchetfish help regulate the planet. That sounds impossible for such a tiny animal, but the Twilight Zone is one of Earth's great hidden engines. By feeding nearer the surface at night and returning to depth by day, mesopelagic animals transport carbon downward through respiration, waste, and death. WHOI researchers and other scientists studying the Twilight Zone describe this process as part of the biological pump, one of the mechanisms that helps move carbon from surface waters into the deep ocean, where it can be stored for long periods. So the hatchetfish is not only surviving inside the machinery of the sea, it is part of the machinery. A glittering animal the size of a leaf helps shape the chemistry of a planet. Its ancestry reaches back far deeper than any human expedition. Fossil evidence shows that deep-sea hatchetfishes or close relatives of modern groups were already present tens of millions of years ago. Recent paleontological work from the Eocene of Iran describes 2 new fossil species of Argyropelechus from the Pabde Formation and argues that their presence extends the temporal and biogeographical range of these deep-sea fishes. Other work has identified Eocene hatchetfish material from Iran and a Miocene deep-sea hatchetfish from Italy. That means the hatchetfish lineage was already solving the deep ocean long before humans ever built a ship, let alone a submersible. When ancient mammals still experimented on land and whole ecosystems were remaking themselves after earlier extinctions, hatchetfish-like animals were already refining the arts of vertical migration, camouflage, and survival in dim pelagic water. If this creature already feels like something from another world, leave a like on the video. It helps the channel reach more explorers fascinated by the hidden life of the deep. Why did they survive while so many species vanished? No one can answer that with perfect certainty, but the clues are written into their bodies. The deep mid-water is both harsh and strangely stable. Temperatures are cold, sunlight is weak, and seasons are less dramatic than at the surface. A creature that adapts to this world may avoid some of the shocks that devastate shallow water species. The hatchetfish is also economical. Small-bodied, efficient, camouflaged, mobile enough to feed, and cautious enough to hide. Its world changes but slowly. Its prey may shift, its predators may change, but darkness remains darkness. Over millions of years, that may have been enough. The lineage did not survive by conquering new worlds. It survived by mastering one of the oldest, hardest worlds on Earth. This is an inference drawn from fossil persistence, broad modern distribution, and the relative stability of mesopelagic habitats, not a settled fact. Even so, survival in the deep does not mean safety. Hatchetfish are prey. Choai points out that a hatchetfish never knows when the axe will fall, and notes that despite its remarkable adaptations, it can still end up in the mouth of predators such as lancetfish or tuna. One striking Woai note recalls researchers finding more than 70 hatchetfish in the expandable stomach of a lancetfish. That image changes everything. Suddenly, the hatchetfish is not just the eerie observer of the dark. It is part of a larger chain of predation so intense that entire shoals can vanish into one open throat. The fish's famous shocked expression begins to feel less comic and more prophetic. In the deep, camouflage is not perfection. It is delay. Human beings know the hatchetfish mostly through fragments, trawled specimens, ghostly photographs, rare submersible sightings, scattered net samples, and the occasional viral close-up that makes the animal look like an extraterrestrial witness. NOAA Fisheries has photographed species like the half-naked hatchetfish and described their mirror-like flanks, glowing undersides, and transparent tails. Noé's Oceanos Explorer has reported hatchetfish, seen during dives around 500 meters and even deeper than 1,000 meters. WHOI scientists working in the Twilight Zone have watched small fishes like hatchetfish in their natural habitat. Each sighting is brief, often accidental, a flash of silver in black water. That rarity matters. It reminds us that for all our satellites and sensors, the mid-water ocean remains one of the least directly observed habitats on Earth. And then there is the emotional shock of seeing one alive. People often react to hatchetfish the same way, with a mix of discomfort and fascination. The upward eyes seem anxious. The body seems too thin to be real. The face seems caught between panic and wonder. That reaction is not trivial. It tells us something about how alien the deep still feels to land mammals like us. We expect large predators to look dangerous, and small fish to look harmless. The hatchetfish breaks that logic. It is tiny but unsettling, fragile but exquisitely engineered, beautiful but in a cold metallic way, like jewelry recovered from a wreck. When artists, aquariums and expedition crews share images of hatchetfish, the response is often the same. How can something so small look so haunted? Mystery still surrounds them. Scientists continue to study how precisely hatchetfish tune their photophores, how their reflective skin works from different angles, and how species divide the water column among themselves. A 2017 Royal Society study described a novel two-component photonic structure in hatchetfish skin that supports three-dimensional midwater camouflage, including scattering patterns that may help defend against both downwelling light and bioluminescent searchlights from predators. The research examines the structure and function of light organs and how these systems may allow the fish to hide without becoming visible from the side. In plain language, the hatchetfish is not merely shiny, it is optically strategic. It manipulates light with the sophistication human engineers still study for inspiration. There are darker revelations too. Smithsonian materials connected to deep-sea expeditions note that some hatchetfish were found with plastic in their stomachs. Another Smithsonian summary of a 2011 study reported plastic fragments in 9.2% of fish examined, with more plastic in species that migrate towards surface waters. That fact hits with special force because the hatchetfish's whole story feels ancient, almost untouched by human time. Yet even here in dim water far below the waves, a fish evolved, for Eocene seas can end up swallowing our debris. The deep ocean is not remote enough to escape us. Our fingerprints are sinking into the oldest dark. If you were to watch a hatchetfish in its own element, truly watch it, the scene would not be loud or fast. It would be tense. A black water column, sparse particles drifting like ash, faint glows from distant organisms blinking on and off like malfunctioning stars. Then a thin silver body turns, nearly vanishes, and hangs motionless for a beat. The eyes remain fixed upward. The belly lights soften. Somewhere above, prey drifts. Somewhere below, another fish is looking for the same silhouette the hatchetfish is working so hard to erase. In that moment, the animal becomes the perfect emblem of the deep sea itself. Not monstrous in size, but monstrous in difficulty. Everything here is earned. Every meal, every descent, every sunrise survived. This paragraph is descriptive synthesis based on observed habitat, camouflage, and twilight zone behavior. Perhaps that is why the hatchetfish lingers in the imagination more than its size should allow. It embodies a truth the deep ocean keeps repeating. Survival is not always about strength. Sometimes it is about subtraction. Become thinner, become dimmer, become harder to read, become a rumor made of light. For millions of years, the hatchetfish has obeyed that logic. It has endured extinctions, climatic shifts, shifting predator guilds, and now the arrival of human noise and plastic, not by announcing itself, but by nearly disappearing. And still, when we do catch a glimpse, it startles us. Because in its mirrored sides and haunted eyes, we see something almost philosophical. Life pushed into such extremes that it learns to survive by negotiating with invisibility itself. So when we speak about the hatchetfish, we are not just speaking about one strange deep-sea animal. We are speaking about an entire strategy for living in darkness. An ancient family of fishes that turned camouflage into art, migration into ritual, and vulnerability into a kind of weaponized subtlety. Scientists study it to understand optics, evolution, food webs, carbon transport, and the hidden physics of the Twilight Zone. Viewers stare at it because it looks like a message from another planet. Both reactions are valid, because the truth is, the deep ocean is the closest alien world most of us will ever have. And the hatchetfish is one of its clearest emissaries, small, silver, silent, and impossibly old. Down there, beyond the reach of ordinary light, the hatchetfish continues its climb and descent, rise and retreat, night after night. It still watches the faint glow above. It still hides from eyes below. It still flashes its measured lie into the water and becomes less than a shadow. And maybe that is the most unsettling thing of all. Not that the deep is full of monsters, but that some of its greatest survivors are delicate, nearly invisible creatures that have been performing miracles of concealment since long before we existed. In the end, the hatchetfish leaves us with a final uneasy thought. The ocean's greatest mysteries may not be the things that attack from the dark, but the things that have learned to live there so perfectly that unless they choose to shine, we almost never see them at all. If the hatchetfish surprised you, comment Abyss below and tell us which deep-sea creature you want to see next here on Abyssal Chronicles.